Hello. How are the beings today? Let us play some more Heroes. Hammerwatch II. Number 2. I kind of want to hop on a higher level character. Maybe we do Paladin since it's the one we didn't get to 100. Yeah, Agamotto, thank you. My default spell power is actually higher than my weapon power now. And that's with my stats into Dex. Our crit rates are 26 weapon and 17 spell. Dual dagger and all attacking like crazy. The epic dagger attacks 3 times per attack round. I don't think priest gets any inherent speed bonuses. I think any class could be doing that same thing. The nice thing about priest melee build though is that if you do the orbs, you just have some extra passive damage and you get that heal. 400 dex at level 70. Yeah, you could have that. He must have a lot of other high level characters though. Let's change absolutely nothing about this build and see what happens. See what it looks like compared to when we did New Game Plus 14. I mean, just baseline, the amount of spell power we had. Any new insane relics? No. Pretty much all the relics are either float for high levels. Let's look at the relics I got. Let's see, there were no new purples that I saw. Blues, they didn't touch relics at all, so they're just kind of, there's still a lot of dead items. You generate 2 mana per second for every nearby foe afflicted with a status. Things don't really live that long. And MP, like the thing about mana regeneration is that you kind of play based on your static things. Like you're not going to go into a run hoping to find a blue item. So you're never going to build your build around it, requiring this to survive. So you like this is just another blue item that clogs up the pool from getting the very few good ones. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32. Okay, there are 32 blues. Of the 32, one That was Heroes of Hammerwatch 1. You can't choose a blue to start with here. 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably another 0.5. Probably 6. So out of 32 blues, 6 of them are good. Fiddle, I guess Fiddle is okay. But only if you have another piece to get the Encore. 25 cast speed or 25 cooldowns. Like, it's not even the Fiddle that's good, it's the set bonus. So 6 of 32 blue items are IMO worth having. And the rest of them, if they didn't exist, you would never ever be any weaker. And matter of fact, you'd be substantially stronger, because you'd always get the better ones. And like, similarly with the purples, like Sands of Time is okay. Phoenix Feather is amazing. But like, of only those 6 items, I would even say are better than most greens or whites. Dragon's Heart is okay early when 200 health is meaningful, or if you're actually lucky enough to have gotten the rest of the dragon set, and you're using spells to actually leech. But as the higher you get, the less impactful 200 health is going to be. So this is fine for now, even up like level 2, level 100, but every HP you get lowers the effectiveness of this. Champion's Medal is a similar, where like it's good if you get all 5 and you're using weapons, but otherwise it's kind of like not really going to be a game changer. So I would say only Sands of Time partially, Dragon Heart partially, and Phoenix Feather. So like, of all these, actually no, Orb Restoration could be good if you're spamming in magic fast enough. But yeah, a lot of items in this game are just not that good. But yeah, no new insane relics. All right, let's hop in here and see what our power level is like in comparison to what it was before the patch, the update. What did I usually take here? I take the MP blocking damage thing. Can I even take that as a beginning item? Or is that just a default ability? Forgot already. Oh, here it is. What's this do? Obviously, if you're doing a dex build, it doesn't really seem to have been changed that much. Anything up or down. Actually, you know what's going to be the biggest change with how they changed everything is Dex characters are going to be even crazier. Because now they're going to... A Dex character who only pumps Dex is going to be the same thing that Wizards used to be back in the beginning, where because Int was their main stat and spells are affected by Int, they would get both spell power, spell crit, and spell damage. Or spell crit chance, spell crit damage, and spell power from one stat. They would effectively get everything to be a caster in one stat. Now Dex characters whose main stat is Dex are going to get weapon crit chance, weapon crit damage, and twice the spell power they used to get from their Dex. So their magic powers just passively just got way stronger. Whereas strength characters probably didn't see any effect at all. And I guess they would have gotten a little bit weaker because they did nerf crit. I guess it might have only been spell crit. Maybe it was like really no change at all in the long run for weapon characters. I think I remember getting this before. What did I get that actually uses this? I think there was the thing where like I could have fire on my weapon. Oh, I didn't get a pet. What's my crits doing? Let's 36k. I think that's about the same as what it was before. It is. I think it does seem a bit less frequent. Drums of battle. Always drums of battle. Wicked hooks. Got its own set bonus now. Yeah, fire damage per character level 0.1. No, you can jump right into the new content, but it'll be the new content. I believe started after. It'd be around level 20. Is when you would probably jump into it. So you could go into it before you even beat the first area. You leveled up a lot and then died like the boss or something. I'm just doing this to try out an old character to see if there are any like noticeable changes to him. This is a character that I just beat in New Game Plus 14 with right before the update came out. Bishop blessed bread. There could be something in the middle there, but I'm not gonna look. So the thing about priest that's going to be extremely awkward is they still wear intelligence armor, but their main stat is focus. So I think they're the first class whose main stat doesn't inherently give them the ability to equip any armor. So if you were to only pump focus on a priest. To get your intelligence up. Like, no matter what, you have to spread your stats out to be able to equip armor. So priest is probably going to be like kind of locked into a weapon build. That way they can use dex to get armor and weapon crit rate, and don't have to worry about spell power. Or super high level. I mean, that could all be BS too. Have you seen any purples? You can't get purples directly through gameplay. You can only get them through maps. They're like a little bonus area. They're all right. I mean, they're basically blues, but they have a special affix on them. Most of them are pretty lackluster. Obviously, all the weapon ones are sure-ins, sure takes. Because they're just the exact same as necromantic focus. That's new. You passively summon a powerful skeletal guard to fight by your side. Sure, let's take it. There he is. Look how powerful he is. He crits for 5,000. Actually, I don't think that was even his crit because I don't see his damage. See, the thing is when you put powerful in a tooltip, it doesn't make it actually powerful. He's not good at all. We'll fight. Oh, it was him critting. He does crit for 5,000. So that's another dead purple item. DOA. For anything above probably like new game +1. Waiting for your Necess update. There's another game coming out along those veins of game, Delvarium. I like all those kinds of games, those little co-op survival games. Kind of want to play this, but the Discord is dead. I mean, it's an old game, and they just released a DLC that basically amounts to one new class and one new map. Not even a new campaign. Like, they really should have lost. The bare minimum I think a lot of people were probably expecting from a DLC was a new campaign. No. It was literally one map and 5 bosses that are reskins of each other. It was yeah, I paid $6 for this. It was basically me giving $6 to say, hey, thanks for all the time you for all the good times you gave me already, and thanks for the 2 extra things. Yeah, they didn't send me a key until after an hour after it already been out. And I didn't want to wait. Is the priest worth it? You'd have to already like the game. I mean, I don't, honestly, no, it's not. I love this game. I love Here's a Hammerwatch, but you'd have to already be a super huge fan of the game and just be desperate for more, kind of like I was. But like, the priest, only thing it adds is another character to play the old content with, and the new map doesn't really add much to the game. Like, you can choose between 5 different gods, and basically you have the ability to add 1 extra boon to your character per run. And you choose from one of the 5, and you power them up by playing that 1 map and then fighting that 1 boss. I've played Curse Mark, yeah. Like, before the DLC came out, I was saying how nice, or what happened with the DLCs in the first game and what made it so fun and why I was looking forward to it. None of those things happened. Yo, thanks for the Prime Gaming sub, dude. I greatly appreciate that. What, like, and things that I mentioned were, 1, a new campaign, which was slightly above the tier of the current campaign. It was a bit harder baseline. That was cool. You got to go through it. It was shorter than the main campaign, which is fine, but it was a new campaign regardless. Another thing you got from the DLC, because you got a new campaign, you got a new passive progressive point every time you beat that campaign. Was that thing kind of lackluster? Sure. It was a little genie in a potion that whenever you used your potion, a genie came out. And unless there was something I was missing, he wasn't that good. But, you know, every time you beat that campaign, you got, you know, you leveled him up and he got stronger, and I don't know, it was something to build upon. In this, you don't get that. Another thing you got in the campaign before was an arena mode, which is effectively what we get here, but with a boss at the end. And that lets you accrue arena points that you could spend on stat points. So every time you beat an arena, you got to spend more stat points on your character. And you could put it into whatever you want. So it was like a way to like customize your character. Also, in that exact same DLC, the first one that I'm talking about, you gain the ability to find blueprints and erect statues, which is effectively what you get in this one but instead of it being a, I guess it is a passive bonus. So that's basically what we got. Imagine if the DLC of Heroes of Hammerwatch 1, if you played it, was one new class and the ability to have those statues. And honestly, I think the buffs are worse than those statues. Yeah, it was a really good DLC. So I'm curious to see what other people think about the DLC. I haven't really read any reviews or anything. I didn't want to go in jaded. I was optimistic, and I was humbled yet again and taught, don't be optimistic. You will be disappointed. Don't Venn diagram the ground explodey things, Vel. You're not on the new game +1 anymore. Yeah, if anybody's interested in the DLC, I think you pretty much have to expect it as basically being, if you haven't already got your money's worth out of the DLC before you buy it, the DLC is not going to give you your money's worth. If you didn't like the game before the DLC, you're not going to like the game after the DLC. There's not enough content for it to change anything. Like, nothing has changed. It's literally the same game, except you get one character and one more little survival map. I don't think it'll do well, and I think if they weren't being published by Team 17 now, and they didn't already have a roadmap for things that were expected to come, then this probably would have been the one and only DLC for the game. They probably would have moved on. Would not have been worth the return of income. I think it took them a year to make this too. So I'm sure people are commenting about how it took them a year to make a DLC that was effectively only the statues from the first DLC of the first game. And honestly, I would say that the statues in this game are less interesting than the statues of the first game. Get that, because that'll finish it off. undead. Take that just so I have more Shadow Curse to get off. The October free update is what added epic equipment into the game. It added 3 new mini campaigns: the Spider Caves, the Crypts, which is just a reskin of the Crypts or the Catacombs, but with a new boss at the end. The Spider Caves, which was a map in the Heroes or Hammerwatch II, and the Spider Queen boss, which was a boss in that. I think the 3 bosses were all from Hammerwatch II. I can't remember though. But yeah, it added basically 3 mini campaigns, the ability to get epic equipment. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say that the free DLC in October did provide more unique stuff than this one. It added 3 new bosses that aren't just reskins of each other and have the same moves, similar movesets, slightly varied. Added epic equipment, which I don't think the epic equipment for the most part is necessarily that great or that unique or cool. They're just a slight power buff over their rare counterparts. They are not working on Heroes 3. And unless something happens with Heroes 2, I think this is the last we're going to see of this game. I mean, it just won't be worth the effort. People were already pretty unhappy with the course of action that happened with Hammerwatch 2, which wasn't fully the fault of the developer of this game. Apparently it was an issue with the publisher, so like they couldn't even produce updates for Hammerwatch 2 even if they wanted to. The game was left in a unfinished, buggy state. The thing about it with this DLC as well is that there's nothing they can do to make it worth it. Because it was so deprived of features that like it's not that they can just like fix the features they added. And they're not going to rehash the DLC to have campaign maps. I also don't think the DLC really fixed any problems the game had. Like, trinkets being effectively worthless at higher levels. But once again, that could just be an issue of the game not being balanced around higher levels. Like maybe they only expected people to do like New Game Plus 2. And that's what they expected. No, or what they balanced the game around. And anything after that is just you pushing the game to just to challenge yourself. Who knows? Who knows? Why didn't I cleanse my shadow curse? I mean, I'm not mad at spending $6 more on this game. For the DLC, because I have approaching 300 hours in this game. Where's that? Yeah. I have 285 hours in this game. I mean, like I said, I've already got my money's worth before I even bought the DLC, including the DLC price. So sure, I'm disappointed in the DLC. You know, I had actually very, very bare bones expectations of it, and it fell short even of that. I mean, I thought for a DLC we'd get like a new map, a new perk for beating that map, and one more point of like if the statues were a bonus on top of a new campaign, then I would have been fine. If there was a new campaign that had, you know, its own bosses, and then the god bosses that you get from the statues were just a bonus on top of that. Because like I said, there's not even 5 unique bosses. They were effectively 5 bosses that are reskins of each other with slightly varying movesets. And hell, in New Game Plus, in the first iteration of all those statues, I don't think they have a different moveset. They just jump and land on you. I'll do one of them after this so you can see how basic they are. I've only fought one of them on New Game Plus 1, or on Tier 1. And I fought 3 of them on Tier 0. Yeah, my priest is 25-ish, I think. I'll do more of it. I just wanted to see how old characters were doing with any balance changes they did. But I think the only really big balance changes they did were changing some values for some abilities and making it so the spell power you get from main stat is double, and the crit chance and crit damage you get from dex and int were nerfed. Wizards are bad now? No. They're actually going to be way better because they just got double the spell power from their intelligence. I would say Rogue and Archer also are going to feel pretty good because they also got more spell power from their decks, and if they're using decks anyway for like a weapon build, then the passive power of their spells just got stronger for nothing. And then the issue that other characters had, like warriors and paladins, is made, I guess, less worse because now their spells will be a bit stronger. But even on my spellcasting paladin, like I didn't really put much strength in. It was mainly all into intelligence to pump crit, because crit scaled the best. I think the main thing that's going to make the game probably harder than it was before is the fact that there are now more trinkets that you can get that don't increase your damage. I'm trying to think if there were any trinkets that they added that were... I think we were looking through it and then I stopped. I got distracted. At least don't increase your damage as much as ones that already existed did. Let's see. So I just picked up the new purple necromantic focus. This is DOA. This is not good. If you get this, you're sad. It's not helping you at all. Gold wrap. Once again, it might be okay for floors like this where enemies kind of hit harder and there's gold everywhere that your pet or you can pick up, especially if you have the thing. But like 20% damage received for 10 seconds, it's not gonna help you on any bosses. So once you get to a boss, this is doing nothing for you. There's no gold in boss fights unless you get the item that makes people drop gold, but I think it's only elites. Bosses aren't elites. Bountiful harvest, once again, not helping anybody. If you're relying on this for healing, then you're probably slowly deteriorating and are gonna die on the boss or something eventually. That's another dead item. Spell Slinger's Amulet, and I'm sure there's one that's similar that does the opposite because it's a set piece. It's all right. This is probably the first one that's semi worth it, and its counterpart will also be partially worth it. But like compared to Amulet, Mace, Wand, or Crowning Achievement, like by itself, I guess it does give crit. It's pretty good. It's okay. I haven't used it a lot, but I think this is fine. This one's fine. And then down here, what did they add down here? Vitarium. Like restoring health for every nearby foe affected with bleeding. That's not doing anything for you. I don't know how much it restores, but I bet you it's not enough. This is only good, and you're not going to rely on it anyway if you have the what's it, gloves that make it so when you crit, you can make enemies bleed and you heal off enemies that are bleeding. But like, honestly, they made a statue that makes it so you can inflict bleeding. So once again, this is another bloat. Ring of Avarice, move speed when picking up gold, and an XP bonus for the set bonus. Bloat. Rosethorn Wand would be 50 spell power, which is like, what's it, 5% if you have 1,000. And Thorns is worthless. So I mean, I guess you get a little bit of spell power out of it. And you could probably upgrade this to be 50. So this item is basically 50 spell power. Thorns and weapon power, same thing. This is just going to end up being 50 weapon power. %10 casting speed with a set bonus of move speed. Bloat. Casting speed is already good enough with potions. There's really good potions for casting speed that having an item that does it is not really the matter. Whereas this is like, this is good. But 20% weapon speed is good. 20% casting speed, not so much. Let's see. White items. Spiked collar, bloat. So yeah, they pretty much just added a bunch of bloat. All the Thorns items are like only there for the priest build that uses Thorns, and that build in the one time I played it, it could be good, but in my short time messing around with it, it didn't seem that great. And there's one thing I've learned about builds that I try for one run and don't feel that great, and that's that they end up being the best builds in the game. But this is coming from somebody who has effectively almost new game plus 100 on every character. And my highest character is level 120 sorcerer. What's that, new game 20? I should read their roadmap again and see what they said that this DLC would be. Maybe I hyped myself up for a new campaign for no reason. Yeah, it says new survival scenarios, new equipment types, which is literally only a weapon and an offhand for the priest, pets and trinkets, and more. What's the and more? Was there an and more? The new survival scenarios. $16K crits? Yeah, that seems fine. Okay, new survival scenarios are the 5 statues they added. Oh wait, no. Pets is not and more. Priests. New equipment types is, I'm pretty sure, literally just the weapons and offhand for priest. So 2 new weapon equipment types. New trinkets. There's no and more. What's the and more? No, oh, you don't see the roadmap? Sorry. I have game capture on. I guess balance adjustments are and more. Here's the roadmap. So DLC 2 is going to be, it says new missions, but they're going to have multiple missions. Another new class. It says new equipment, but as we've learned up here, new equipment is just weapons for the new class. It didn't even add an armor set for focus. So like I was saying earlier, if you play priest, you have to put your stats into int. You have to spread out. Every other class, you don't have to spread out if you don't want to. Like warriors and paladins, if they wanted to, could go all strength. They would be, you know, they would have armor and weapons. You know, a rogue and an archer, they can go all dex and have armor and equipment and weapons. A wizard can go all int and have weapons and whatnot. But a priest, dude, if you want armor, you gotta get your stats elsewhere. It's gonna be in our interdex depending on what you're going weapon or. And that's even if you wanted to do that. I mean, honestly, I think what people are going to do is just not use focus because it's a silly stat anyway. I did get both secrets. All right, let's just go. What other games do I have access to? MindGen. Spin to a win. Spin to a win. Archers are still stronger than any boss in this game. I didn't expect them to change it, but it would have been nice. If there was a mod that removed archers from this game, you would never take damage from bosses. That's how imbalanced damage is. Get him. They did it. Are all your characters casters? Because pure weapon builds I don't think got a buff. If they feel stronger, maybe. I don't think they should. Actually, no, they should, because if you put any points into your spellcasting abilities, they got stronger despite you not using them. Weapons didn't get a buff at all, though. Which one's Warden? I don't know him by name like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the one I used, but I used a weapon with it. I used epic bow with it. I mean, your attack speed should be it's the same as it was before the patch. They didn't change attack speed at all. I know of. Didn't even add anything to increase attack speed. Yeah, weapon power had no stat scaling before. But weapon power scaling with armor is pretty cool. I would be curious to know if that... I mean, that probably would be good. Considering there was so few places to actually get weapon power from, you could do the armor, the weapon power thing. I'd still go Dex armor though, specifically because Dex armor gives huge buffs to weapon crit. I don't think just a pure armor on strength is gonna outclass just getting all that weapon crit. Or chance and crit damage. I don't know why my brain was like, run over all of it, but here we are. .25 weapon power. When I have 900 already. Want that mana crystal bell? Oh, you know what the best balancing change they made that I didn't mention? They made it so the elementals on the final area have only half their resistance now instead of what they used to have. Was it just... I found the correct wall, so I just gotta collect the Shadow Curse items and then we move on. Apparently I missed this room here too. I guess the one bonus of the skeleton guy, but I get from arachno webs anyways, that enemies sometimes target them instead of me. Shwoom. I have infinite healing now. Oh, it's not as fast as I thought it was. Make it look easy. I'm not sure if there's much you can do besides just choosing your perks and stuff. Like a lot of, I don't think I'm doing anything fancy to dodge anything. I just kind of move around things in a circle. Just be just the fact of having played for so long and I have so many bonus stats from other characters. Max. Are you max level? Might just rush to the end. Spin to win. Was indeed spin to win. Whoa, he didn't move forward. Oh, he's attacking my little guy. My little guy baited the dash right in the middle. What a noob. Oh man, Cat's Eye's opening up Visions of Abyssia. Let's watch this. I know probably nobody here cares about Final Fantasy 11, but this is my the private server I'm currently playing. This is post 75 content. It looks like they're scaling down to 75 finally. I think it's probably maybe one of the first servers to actually do it. Neat. Pause this. I want to read this. Where's pause? Where the hell's pause on this player? Chat. I'll press spacebar. Oh, it's in the middle. All right, let's see what they have planned for it. Air plus features, custom NIMs, quests, unique boss encounters, custom quests, another prestige system. Wait, no, this is literally what Cat's Eye is. I thought this was going to be what to expect in the content. No, all this is what Cat's Eye is already. Curious how they'll do it. I wonder if they'll just kind of copy the foundation of what Abyssia was, which was running around. It was a timed area, which sucked. Unless you did specific things to find time chests or chests that could have time in it. We'll see how they do it. I hope they don't do it that way because I hate timed content. But that's personal preference. All right. New game 16 on everybody now. Let's go back to Priest. Supposedly they buffed pets picking up stuff. I'm just gonna dump all my points now. I think we're gonna go. I think I am just gonna go Dex. Dex or Int, I wonder. I just swapped to Priest. I think we go Dex because if we go Focus, we don't, there's no armor, there's no Focus armor. It's all Int. So we have to spread it anyway if we go Focus. If we go Int, which we already have a lot of, we have to spread between Focus and Int to get a spell build going. which maybe we'll do that. Dex would be just pure Dex, and it would just be a weapon build. I'm gonna go spell build for now, just because I do a lot of weapon builds. So you get 2 spell power for 1. Why does this feel weaker? It definitely is weaker. It was doing like 80 damage before. And I have more focus in than I did before. They said they were gonna buff this. They nerfed it? It's not affected by spell power anymore? I just reset my stats and its damage didn't go up at all. Or don't go down at all. $23 to $33. Yeah. It's barely going up. It was doing more damage before they, quote, buffed it before the patch today. A 100 more only added like 10 to 20 damage to this. That's brutal. And it can't even crit, which is silly. So I think it's not even worth taking any of that. Bad to say. I think this is going to be the build. As far as stat points, I'm going to go to 100 focus and then the rest of the int. That's full max. since we're gonna go with spells. Oh, I never put any int in or any. You know what? Maybe we don't go spell build because you have to do int for armor. You have to do focus for spell power, and then you need hail for HP. So I think the options, I think you're kind of want to go with dexterity on priest. That way you're only split between 2 stats instead of 3. Which means you don't need any of this except for this. This. And this. Then you go maybe I should have got a little more dex. 217. Head, body, and they nerfed the beam damage from the sword too. So it's like, I guess we just go dual blades. Cape. My boots, I don't have any good boots, but that's fine. Is mighty correct? Weapon power, chilling is definitely wrong. Balm or weapon crit? My weapon crit chance at now. %. could do hail. Oops. Wait, no. Protection. Duration. Like 1 level of combo Nova. I mean, Beast absorbs damage with their mana. They have a lot of health already. Mana gain. Movement speed. Weapon speed and you want mana leech? You absorb damage with your mana, that could be your healing. Oh, bleeding enemies' gold chance can make those gold trinkets not be absolutely the worst. Actually, maybe we want our mana to be missing because we get a damage bonus for missing mana. Hey, thanks for the raid. Appreciate that. How are you doing? How was your stream? What were you up to? Welcome in, everybody. Why dual daggers with priest? Just trying it. So, priest spell power scales with focus. If you focus, you can't. There's no like built-in armor that is focus. So you then have to put points into intelligence to wear armor. Playing Heroes 2, nice. But you also need to put points into vitality, because actually it looks like on priest your HP is taken first, or your MP is taken first completely, instead of only a portion. No, your HP goes down too. Hold on, I have to read the passive real quick. Portion of the damage received. So 50% of the damage does go to mana first. So you have to level your HP and MP. You have to level your HP as well to not, you know, die. So if you try to go spell build on priest, it'll work, but you're spreading your points between 3 stats. You need intelligence to equip armor. You need focus to raise your spell power, and you need vitality to raise your HP. If you go dex build, or just use weapons, so you use a dual daggers or a bow, you only need dex for weapons and armor, and then vitality for HP. Which is fundamentally the really big issue with balancing in this game. And that's, armor is tied to a very specific thing because of how they did armor in this game. Strength armor, like every armor set in this game, strength armor, dex armor, int armor, have passive bonuses to things. Strength armor only raises your armor, so you get extra armor as basically like a set bonus, or not really a set bonus, but more of like a heavy armor has defense on it in addition to its affixes. Dex armor has stuff that raises like the, hold on, let me see exactly what it gives. I know the boots give you movement speed, the hands give you weapon crit damage or crit chance. I don't know which one of these is an affix and which one of these, I think it's the crit damage. So you get a scaling, the higher tier you go, you get more and more crit damage on your gloves as you get higher. I think the boots cap at that number, what's it, like 8. Your body gives, it looks like attack speed, and I think that stops at a certain point. 20% might be the highest you get. Your hat gives, it looks like also crit damage, weapon crit damage. Whereas every single armor piece for strength gives you only more armor. So it's just extra armor. And intelligence gear gives spell related stuff. So spell speed, spell crit damage. And once you look at that, take a step back and look at that, your armor plays a pretty big part in your damage, and spreading your stats out can be detrimental. And like I said, in early new game pluses, it's not going to matter. We were playing yesterday and the day before that, perfectly fine with my stats all willy-nilly placed anywhere, doing fine damage. But I think I was critting for 2k on my laser yesterday, and I know I put all my stat points in instead of only a portion of them to match my power level with who I was playing with. But I mean, I'm critting for upwards of 8-9k now versus yesterday when my laser was critting for like 2k. It's just one of those things where the way they did armor in the game, they kind of took away uniqueness from things. I've said it before, but the armor and how they did armor in this game is probably one of the weaker things they did. And honestly, I think it would have been better if they just would have had just random affixes on everything, and that way you could get, you know, strength armor that had magic stats on it instead of just being, here's strength armor, it only ever has a bonus to armor. And yeah, you can do your affixes manually and put magic stuff on it, but it's never going to be as good at magic stuff as a robe that has innate magic crit damage or magic cast speed. And you're just wasting on more armor. That's why when the game first launched, I think before, spell power was actually tied to intelligence. So if you wanted to do spells, which I think I did I think I used the robes and spells and intelligence on every class up to New Game 10. I just passed around one set of mage armor to every character. I'm not going to take any of that to get everybody's New Game plus 10, and it was easy because you got spell power from intelligence. Intelligence armor gave spell crit and made spells even stronger. And then they updated it. They made it so spell power comes from your main stat, which is fine, but intelligence for crit chance and spell crit chance and spell crit damage was still a much bigger impact than spell power was for a while. Eventually, you do get to a point where spell power is actually a larger impact because of diminishing returns. But when they said they were introducing new armor or new equipment, I thought they were going to do something like that, where, you know, maybe a set of strength armor that raises, you know, melee stats outside of armor, or like an int set, or maybe even just like now that we've seen what they added, you know, a focus set of armor would have been nice. So if you did want to go hard into focus and spell power on your priest, you had armor to equip. I don't know why I took mana regen based on my missing mana percent, because we have 0 mana regen. But anyway, the changes they made to spell power and then adding epic armor, epic weapons and stuff. It made weapon builds kind of the easiest way to pump, because now you only had to put points into dex. Like every class can put points into just dex and HP, use the same set of armor, use the same weapons, and then, you know, you're fine. Yeah, having not played this game for several months and coming back is probably the play. You basically effectively got 2 updates. Well, I guess if you haven't played since they added epic stuff, because you could do all the epic maps and things. You could do the very minimal amount they added in the DLC. Oh yeah, the pets seem to be pretty good at picking up stuff now. Definitely made those a lot better. They're worth it now. But if you're someone who, like me, came back and messed around with the game a week or so before the DLC came out, you didn't really get much anything new to play with, and you'd already experienced a large chunk of the content. Yeah, the pet is now where I would like it to be. But much the same way they made weapon builds kind of the de facto to go-to way to play the game. They need to bring spells back in line, because if you just use dex and weapons on everybody, because weapons are tied to dex, like your weapons are tied to your main stat, you're just going to use like a bow or dagger with everybody, or I guess a sword. I don't know. I guess there an offhand dex item? Is it the hand crossbow? Like all your characters are going to play the same, except for they have different abilities that don't do anything. It's really just different skinned character that, you know, you pick the build that supplements your weapon better. So, you know, warrior, you pick the one that basically you pick the class that gives you buffs to make your weapon better. When I first came back to start playing the game again in anticipation for the DLC, I was playing around with spell builds, and I think someone mentioned that a lot of people do dex builds now and weapons, and now I understand why. Because the way they changed how int and stuff works, or spell power works. If you wanted to do a spell power build with any other character, you'd have to level your main stat for spell power, your intelligence for spell crit and spell crit, or spell crit chance and spell crit damage, and then also you'd have to level vitality for HP, and potentially even level focus for MP region. So you're looking at 3, potentially 4 stats. Whereas if you do a dex build, you're only ever going to have to focus on 2 stats, and that's dexterity and vitality. And I can tell you that spreading points in 2 areas is going to be bigger number than spreading your points in 3 to 4 areas. I guess vulnerability. All of this is irrelevant now, though, in New Game Plus 2. all my characters are level 100, so I have so many passive stats that, as you can see, I can just walk through spikes and not care. Things I would like to see change in this game remain the same as what I would have liked to see in the game before the patch, before the DLC. Trinkets need to scale better. By better, I mean trinkets need to scale, period. Because most of the trinkets in the game are not worth picking up. Well, they're worth picking up because if you don't pick them up, you're just going to find them again. Most of the trinkets in the game are not worth having after the first couple new game pluses. I need to find a better way to make spell power better, because it hurts to spread your stats between more than a couple stats if you want to try to pump. But you have to look at it too. How many people are going to play this game beyond new game maybe 5? So like a lot of the problems I have with the game are not going to be problems that most people have with the game. All right, is it Ayane? Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Enjoy your food, and thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. Perfectly? Love that. Love getting a name pronounced perfectly on the first try. So then I don't second guess it anytime in the future. If I get the name wrong, my brain will flip-flop between, was I right originally or did they correct me? Don't be sorry. I mean, I fully expect most raids to end in that person leaving. They just streamed for however long, and they need to relax, get food, get drinks, stretch, all that stuff. Enjoy your day. Bye, face guy. Like a 10% increase at this lower lower stage in the game. How is new Hammer watching going? Now that I've had it for a few days and played with it, it's a pretty lackluster DLC. I don't think I'd recommend it. I think what it amounts to, bare bones, I wanted to simplify it as much as possible. It's one new map with 5 bosses that are just reskins of each other, with, unless the higher New Game Pluses change it dramatically, they have very similar movesets. Slightly vary to match the flavor of boss they are. And what amounts to I would say a weaker version of the statues in Hammerwatch Heroes 1 that gave you unique buffs when you built it and as you kept building it, because this one gives you, for the most part, I guess three of them give you basically passives from other characters, and if you're playing that character, that passive doesn't, well, I guess you wouldn't get another wolf on your ranger, and you don't get more summons on your priest if you're playing that class and take that statue. And the reason why that sucks is because the passive bonus from the priest one, or the statue that has the passive ability that summons, I'm rambling, let me restart. The reason why that sucks is because if you're playing the priest class that has summons and you want to use the statue that raises your summon damage per summon, you only get half effectiveness from it because you can't get more of the same passive as you already have. So do you take another one to get another passive, to get a passive bonus and a passive ability? Or do you take the priest one, lose out on the passive ability, but gain the passive stat that you actually want? Whereas I'm pretty sure in Heroes 1, the statue system was unique bonuses through and through. Like, they were unique things that you couldn't get anywhere else in the game. Oh yeah, dude, this pet is really good now. To be fair, they were very true to what they said this DLC would be, except for, well, I guess they said and more, but I was going through what the DLC added and decided that the and more is literally just, I guess, balance changes, since that is something that they say is a thing in other ones. It is true we got a new class, we got the priest. It is true we got new equipment, a main hand and an offhand focus items like that for the priest. It is true that we got new survival scenarios. There's not a campaign. I don't know why my brain auto completed the campaign. I guess that's on me, but I just figured if they were going to release a DLC a year or so after the game came out, it would have been a campaign and not a single map with 5 bosses reskinned from each other. It's a new boss, it's just a reskin in every scenario. doom, 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 boom. I would say if you're a fan of the game and you want to play more of it, I would wait until the next DLC coming out in Q4. Maybe they'll do a bundle deal and you can get it all for a good price. That one does say, it says new missions with an S. So I don't think they're gonna add 2 new maps. If they were gonna add 2 new maps in 6 months, they'd probably do well to just let people have one of those in a free DLC before Q4 and just have 1 new mission in Q4. What do you need? I don't know if we have any more. Weren't you out last time you checked? You can come in. Get it back. Nephews were looking for AAA batteries, but we haven't had any for a while. Okay though, them coming in means I forgot what I was talking about. So when I was rambling about nonsense, negativity, gone now. Okay, I stand by that. I mean, hell, they can even add the new mission into the DLC. That way, like, I'm not saying, like, when I say for free, I don't mean it should be a free update for everybody. I think when I say for free, I mean they should add a mission to the DLC they just did. I mean, short form content is fine, but like, it definitely wasn't what people wanted with the DLC. Because I was explaining what you got in the DLC. Did you play Heroes of Hammerwatch 1, the first DLC in that game? And what you got with that? You got an arena mode, which was effectively what the survival mode is in this DLC. But it was in addition to a new campaign. So in Here's How Much 1, the first DLC. Hold on, wait, how much did it cost? It was $7, so similarly priced. In this DLC, you got a new campaign. Yes, it was shorter than the main campaign. What was it? 1, 2, was it 3? Maybe 4 bosses? You got a new campaign. New things to find in that campaign that were permanent upgrades to your character, basically similarly to the statues. Oh, 3 bosses, okay. So 3 bosses that were unique and different from each other, not just reskins of each other like the 5 quote unquote bosses were in this DLC. You got permanent progression for beating that campaign, kind of similar to how you get in the first game. You got max level, and this game you get max level. And then campaign 2, you got, it was not, I'll be honest, what you got for beating the campaign 2, the Pyramid of Prophecy campaign, was pretty bad. It was when you ever used a potion, you got a genie, and he was at least as much as I did it, not good at all. I don't know if he ever got better. You able to find blueprints to erect statues that gave you buffs similar to the statues in this game, but they were better. I think they were stronger. I know the one I used a lot was like when you, I think there was one like when you attacked, you had like arrows came out or something. I don't know. I think there was, I don't know how many there were, maybe 4. And you could build them up by basically throwing more stone at it. I don't know if you had to find blueprints for the higher levels, but I know you had to find blueprints for the actual statues themselves. And then you also got a survival mode without bosses. It was an arena. Actually, did it have a boss in it? I don't think it had a boss in it, but you got an arena mode, and that arena mode, every time you beat it, you got a currency that you could spend on stats. Now that game didn't have manual stat allocation like this game does, but I mean, would anybody have been opposed to just getting extra stats? I don't think so. Compared to this game's DLC for the similar price, you got 1 map, 5 bosses that are just a reskin of each other. And those maps are also tied to the statues. So you got like a third of what the Heroes of Hammerwatch 1 DLC gave you. Oh look, spell sword circlet. I'm gonna take that just to get it in my book. And yeah, that's what I thought it would do. The one that gives you crit, weapon crit for after casting spells is substantially better than the one that gives you spell damage. Actually, no, they're both okay. Because you can just throw a occasional weapon hit out to buff your spells, or just throw a occasional spell out to buff your weapons. But only one of them is good on any run you do, unless you're. I don't know if hybrid builds are going to be a viable thing. Like one of the others definitely going to be better. Boring. All right. You know what? There's no point grabbing it. There's not really anything that I can get that'll buff my melee damage. I might look at some of the other specs for this. Maybe thorns will help. Not because of the thorns itself, but because of what thorns could potentially give to my weapon. I didn't know how good I had it back when I was saying there's no use doing anything besides spell builds for every class. At least when I did spell builds for every class, I got to use different spells. But now that it's like weapon builds for every class, and like it feels less varied than it did before. What are my change impressives? Orbs felt weaker. My orbs were doing less damage than they were, despite having said they buffed them. So I actually spec'd out of orbs, and now I'm just doing melee build on my priest, which is the same as every other character that I have now. Oops, all melee characters. Except for my sorcerer, who is still a fire mage. I don't even think letting every character equip everything was the error they made. I think the error they made was that they made it too hard to do different things. Not hard necessarily. It made it too unrewarding, inefficient. I was explaining before how if you wanted to do a spell build, you needed to do your main stat. Like, we'll use priest as an example since that's what we most recently played. If you wanted to do a spell build on priest, you'd have to level intelligence to equip intelligence armor, which gives good buffs to crit, spell crit speed, spell crit damage, and spell, maybe just those two things. So that's one stat you have to spend in intelligence. Oh, spell crit chance, because spell crit or intelligence gives spell crit chance. You'd also have to put into focus, because focus gives you spell power. And obviously you want spell power and make your spell power, your spells better. That's two stats you're spent in. Focus and intelligence. All right. Now you want to, you're dying too fast. So you need a little bit of survivability. Well, kind of put some points into vitality. Get more HP to survive better. Now to be a spellcaster, you're spread into 3 different stats. Now take that same class priest and say you want to be a weapon build like I am now. All right, let's look at what you need. You need a weapon. Okay, well, there are weapons that use dexterity, so let's do that. Okay, we have a weapon now. If you want to be a weapon build, the best armor is dexterity. So, you know, your stat, okay, you already have your stats in dexterity because you chose to use a dexterity weapon, whether it be a bow or like I'm using now, the double daggers. Sweet. All right, now you're dying a bit too fast and you need some health. All right, put some into vitality. Now you survive better. You can actually have more vitality because you don't got to spread it. You don't got to share it with 2 other stats. You only got to share it with 1 other stat. And since physical attacks cost no mana and the weapon abilities cost very, very little mana, you are now good to go. Dex and vitality is all you need. And spreading your stats in 3 stats is viable. I mean, I've done it. My warrior or my paladin that I just did a new game plus 15 run on, I was using the axe because I don't know, I didn't want to use daggers on him like every other weapon character I had. But that strength was only to equip that weapon. I could have just as easily equipped a dex weapon and had more dex. Probably done more damage. Doubling the amount of spell power you get for main stat was a good change. But when your armor is set up in a way that it's pretty much locked into a stat to use it and to get the spell power, which is intelligence, you're kind of like most, if not all other games that have equipment that is a little more randomized like this game is doing. Like, because of the random nature of it, you could get a piece of strength here that was more caster oriented. But your caster gear in this game isn't going to be melee oriented, unless you, I mean, because you can re-roll any stat on it, and then it never will be better than just wearing caster armor. No, the stat pickups you get are for the character you're playing only. The stats you get for leveling a character to level multiples of level 10 apply to all your characters, but those are achievements or accomplishments. And they stop at level 100. That's also the downfall of the epic system, is that every single weapon and armor, every single weapon only has one epic variant. Every single epic scepter is going to be a bigger, it's going to be the bigger smite. It's going to be a bigger smite, and it's going to be more damage against undead. Every single one of them. There's not going to be any variants. Every single lantern is going to be, does more damage, does more healing, and bounces to one extra target. I think they could do a lot more expansion on the epic armor to make it more crazy. Like, what if they made it so epic weapons had a random chance to roll like an epic two-handed axe, but it needs intelligence to equip? And maybe gave some kind of magic stat. You could be an axe wizard. Or, okay, so it does do 5 in New Game Plus 1, 4 in New Game Plus 2, and then 3 on every new game past that. Oh, the pet changes were good in the patch today. As you can see on the map. There's only like a couple pieces of gold that my pet didn't pick up. As I complimented him, he left that gold down there on the floor. No, It just collects near you better. I think that's one of the things about, can't move at all. I think that's one of the cool things about games with equipment like this is that in this game there's not really any variance, so you just get, like, once you pick up a piece of int gear, it's the only thing you care about is eye level, because you can put any affix on it you want at the guy for just a cost of some gems. So I guess that's kind of something you earn though as you progress. Early game you're not going to have the resources, you're not going to have all the blueprints to do that, but as you play more and get more money and more resources and more blueprints, I guess that's a luxury you earn. Now you can put any affix on anything without having to worry about it. But like the joy of these kinds of games, and for me, is getting that random drop that fits exactly what you need. Like what if the epic staves rolled like their abilities randomly, like the left click and the right click were different on every single one. Like you could get the left click for the ice staff but the right click for the fire staff. That would make it more interesting than your left click and right click are just better versions of the staff it is attached to. Obviously that only works for like two-handed weapons, for staves in particular, because they're kind of mashed together. You probably wouldn't be very happy if you got an axe, a two-handed axe that shot a crossbow bolt out. Maybe you would, maybe you would. I think my rambling kind of depressed me even more. I'm probably going to stop after this because I'm just making myself more and more sad the more I play, because I wanted more. I expected little, got less, and there's not really a comeback for that. So I think this game is going to go back into the closet until I'm thinking the next DLC. I don't think the next free update is going to add enough to make me want to be interested again anyway. I might come back and play for a day, but I mean the next DLC they have planned is just balancing in a new building. Like, what's the new building? They have the one over here, the monument. Yeah, unless they make some pretty big substantial changes, I think we just let it cook a bit longer. Base game, fantastic. DLC, can you join the epic spider for an offhand? Sure. Or you can. Sure you can. Do you not join me through Steam? I mean, I just didn't know if it worked or not. Epic offhand. Quick thoughts on the DLC? Don't buy it. That quick enough? So the DLC amounts to one singular map, not a campaign. Singular map. That is a survival map where you just get like enemies that come after you. And you kill them and fill a bar. Make a boss appear. And if you don't do it in time, then you lose. Like straight up lose. It's just game over. It's not like it gets harder, you get punished, you lose. It's game over instantly. And then there are 5 bosses, but they're just a reskin of one boss. Like they introduced one new boss and that has 5 variants. That is the extent of the new bosses. And they added priest. So unless you really want to play priest, I don't really think you should drop the money on it. I would say wait till the Q4 update. See what they add there. Maybe that one will be better. Maybe the content is more fun if you're lower level. What? This was level 32 offhand. I thought that's what you wanted. I just saw offhand. I guess I didn't read the whole message and realized you wanted the spider cave. This one's 1 eye level higher. $32 offhand instead of a 31 offhand. It's better. I don't know why I took that. You have to use a potion to activate it, which is the stupidest activation thing. I usually go straight down on these maps because these traps in these corridors hurt. Oh my god, is that a nymph? Don't worry, I'm overpowered. The boss will stand no chance. Man, the cast time on the priest's abilities really make it rough to trigger drums. Good luck getting the offhand you want. You'll probably get 3 books and a shield. But you've already got the epic offhand. Just trying to get a higher level one. Oh, I got the 3 books right. Ooh, take this. Got a better lantern? Nice. Enjoy. All right, chat. I'm going to go be a negative Nancy in my own little bubble instead of spreading my negativity over stream. I'll be back tomorrow. I think we're going to move on to some other games and let Heroes of Hammerwatch sit in my library for another 6 months before we play the other next DLC. I already got 300 hours out of this game, so spending more money on it is fine with me. Or maybe next time I'll wait a day and play it the day after, and if I can't get a key for it. Anyway, thank you all very much for coming out. Greatly appreciate it. Sorry for the short streams as of late. I will try to be in a better mood tomorrow and stream for longer. You all have a fantastic rest of your day and hope to see you guys back here again in the future. See ya.